of the Fat Archer. Today I'm going to be showing you how I tan different types of furs with an alum mixture. I'll show you what the ingredients are here in a few minutes, and I'll show you kind of how I go about it. The first thing we're going to do in this first part is we're going to just basically, we got to rehydrate the furs I'm going to tan. They've been stretched and all that after caught. Thanks to my dad, who got me a couple of these really nice Marten furs that I'm going to use. I'm going to just put them in some water here, just get them hydrated again so I can turn them inside out, and we'll let them soak till they're good, and we'll get them all ready, and then I'll make the mixture up. So I'll go about getting the water ready and stuff, and I'll show you how I do that here right away. Alright, so what I'm going to do here, I got this bucket of water I brought out, and I'm going to dump it in to container here. There should be enough in there. I put it just enough to cover it, so because it's hard to get them to sink down inside too. And I'll give you a shot here with this camera, what I got going here. So I just filled it up about a quarter of the way, and next I'm going to just take and put these two furs inside, and this doesn't hurt them at all. Just put them in there, get them wet, get them submerged. They're going to float, of course, so I'm going to find something that'll hold them down there. So once I get that, I'll be able to see what I need next. Alright, what do I got? Let's see. Use that in there. Oh, I can already start to soften it up. I can feel it already. So I got this heavier container. I'll just put it over here on that end. And then grab, see what I got here. And I will grab this. This should be able to keep them underneath the water. Alright, once I got the water ready, I then needed to get together and get the three chemicals that I'm going to mix together, the three ingredients. They're all mixed together in the water. You want to measure it all out first and get it ready to put in the bucket. So first of all, I want to use here some coarse uniodized salt. You want to have about 1 cup of it, and just set it. I got it in a separate container here. You can tell it's coarse salt. You can get it any place there. Here, this is baking soda for washing laundry. It's 2/3 of a cup of that. The last ingredient here I'm using is aluminum sulfate, and I'm using 2.5 cups of aluminum sulfate. Aluminum sulfate is used in plants and bedding plants and stuff like that to mix in with the soil, but of course in this case we're using it for tanning. You want to make sure all these ingredients are kept separate. The reason we keep them separate is because there is a chemical reaction between the three of them when they are mixed. You also don't want to mix them until you get them in the water, and the water in your bucket you want to have outside, because once you mix them together, the ingredients cause a gas to be created, and once that gas is created, it's released, and you don't want to breathe that in. I don't know how harmful it would be to you, but it's not a nice smell on top of it. So you want to make sure that you have you step back from it when you dump it in. So I like to take it outside and do it, and so that will be what we're doing next. As you can see, after I added all the ingredients in, that now it's all bubbling and having that chemical reaction. I'm just leaving it. I'm going to set it back here, back behind the RV, so it can sit for the night, and then I'll bring it in tomorrow. That'll all be done, all the things that go on and all the bubbling and all that will do its job. And then that's what we're going to put the furs in tomorrow to do the tanning. So let's review. I brought some water out. I had to rehydrate the furs that I have. They're Fishers, or sorry, Marten, and we got them soaking in water, ready to rehydrate them so I can turn them inside out. We mixed together one cup of salt, 2.5 cups of alum sulfate, and 2/3 of a cup of baking soda wash for the laundry. So the baking soda that you add to the laundry. We mix all those up. Make sure you mix those up outside. Like I said, there's a little bit of a chemical reaction and a little bit of gas that's come off it. That water is going to sit outside till tomorrow. I'll go out tomorrow, grab it, bring it in, and stir it up, and then we'll add the furs to it as soon as they're get a chance to rehydrate here, and I can turn them inside out. So that's kind of all I can really do for tonight, and we'll try and come back again tomorrow and get it in there, and we'll show it. After we get them in the bucket, basically they just sit for about 5 days, 4 or 5 days, and what we're going to do is we're just going to come in and we're going to stir them once a day. But for right now, that's basically all I can do. Stay tuned. Alright, these furs here seem to have dehydrated, or rehydrated to a certain point. I'll write down one, turn them inside out. So I'm going to take this one, I'm going to show you how. Now, you got to keep in mind too that this one, this is like the second time I've done this, so I'm not like no expert or anything like that. But I like to show people things that I do and the mistakes that I make when I'm doing them, because we all make mistakes when we're learning something. So this one here, I found these didn't take very long to rehydrate, that's for sure. And then you just grab them, you just turn them. And I found the best way for me is just to slowly work from the middle out as you go up, and it comes up. Just take it, coming up here. One of the reasons I got these fur from my dad is they're a little damage on them, so they're not really to fetch a high price at the furrier. So it gives me a good chance to do this. I practiced on a weasel, which is quite a bit smaller, and the weasel turned out really, really well. I actually got it downstairs in my basement, and it's all tanned. It's nice and soft and doesn't smell or anything like that. I put it in a shadow box and I'm going to hang it on the wall. It's pretty cool. If you like those kind of things. Which I do. So, got all that all out, and I'm just going to let it sit in the water a little bit longer because it's still a little tough here around the nose and the ears, and we want those ears and stuff to rehydrate quite a bit because you want to be able to move them around and be able to work with them. So basically I'm just going to leave it in the water for a little while longer and see how it turns out. But that's basically it inside out. What I'm going to do after, once they rehydrate a little bit more, I'm going to probably put them on a board, and I'm going to try and scrape them a little bit more and get some of the gunk off. A lot of the gunk that's on here, like from flushing, and don't get me wrong, my dad did a really good job on flushing this, but I find the more you take off, with the weasel I took it off before I put it in, scraped it quite a bit, the better it turned out, the more supple the leather was and stuff. You just got to be careful in putting holes. These are thin skinned, so with it being thin skin like that, it tends to tear, so you got to be careful with when you're working with it. So anyways, got it all turned out. They're all good to go, so I'm just going to put it back in the water, let it hydrate a little bit more, and then I'll probably flush them and then get them ready for the water. Or sorry, for the alum mixture that I have. So stay tuned. Well, now it's the next day, and I came in and I looked, and these look really good. Um, they had been sitting overnight, and they're nice and white, kind of colored, and so they had done their job. They're nice and hydrated. They're all ready to go next into the solution. I'm going to kind of just take them and grab them here, and I'm going to take them over to the solution. You can see they're very hydrated, they're very loose, and just um, really got good moisture and stuff like that. And plus, some of the soaking takes some of the grit and grime off of them and stuff like that. So the next thing I want to do is I want to take them here, let some of the water run out, and I'm going to take them over to the solution that I had made the night before. It had a chance to sit outside and have all the gas dissipate. Now you can put your hands in the solution now once it's sat overnight. I have no trouble putting my hands in it or anything like that. So see here, they're ready to go. They're nice and white. I like that, and some of the gunk has come off. So I'm going to drop them in the bucket here, and the solution, you can see I stirred it up. It's nice and white colored. All the bubbling is gone from the night before and stuff like that. So you can put your hands in it, and again, it doesn't hurt the fur. The fur doesn't fall out. At least in my experience, it hasn't fallen out yet. But so all I'm going to do here is make sure I coat it really well in the bucket and make sure all the solution is mixed up good. You want to really get all that fur down inside of there and make sure the solution gets a chance to work. So what's next here is just keep working it in the solution for about 4 or 5 days. There's really not much else I can do but check it maybe once a day and give it a good stir. One thing I forgot to mention was the need to keep the furs underneath the solution, not let it really sit on top. So my solution here, I had a smaller bucket. I put some water bottles in it, and that helped push it down. So I just put it on top, and I just helped keep those furs underneath the liquid. So I'm just going to leave it sit like this now for the 3 or 4 or 5 days that I leave it, and stir it once a day.